Gremlins action.
Hello everybody, today we're looking at another Christmas horror-ish movie called Gremlins. It came out in 1984 and stars Zach Galligan and Corey Feldman, and yeah, those are the two big names. This movie tells the story about a Mogwai that gets sold to this inventor. It's a present for his son, and he gets told not to get it wet, not to feed it after midnight, and that it can't see the light or else it'll die. That rule about after midnight makes no fucking sense. That rule just makes no sense. Get rid of it. Alright, how about getting wet just causes you to not only just fucking get pregnant and shit like it does in the movie, but it also makes them evil. The after midnight thing makes no sense. But after retrieving this Mogwai, he does inevitably get it wet by Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman knocks over some water on it, and then it has all these little spawn childs, and the Mogwai doesn't like and knows these offsprings are terrible. And then they turn into the bad gremlins, because they get fed after midnight, because Zach Galligan, he plays Billy, his clock is broken by the gremlins, and therefore he goes, oh, it's not midnight, and he feeds them, and they turn into gremlins, and then they start wreaking havoc on the entire town, and they have to kill these gremlins one by one, and that's the story. This movie is executive produced by Steven Spielberg, and that's why it's a fun little family movie. This movie could have took a more dark route. Not too dark, I don't think this movie could be too serious, but I feel like this movie could have been a lot better. It is good, but it could have been a lot better if they went more of a rated R-ish direction, like if the kills didn't have comedy attached to them, and if they were a little bit more severe, this movie could have been something different and maybe better. Who knows? But instead, we got this child-friendly. It still has some. I guess when I was a kid, this movie was still creepy, but this is more of a family Christmas horror-ish comedy. Some things I really like about this movie is that score. We get an iconic score by Jerry Goldwater. He does a lot of movies in the 80s. I think he did the Rambo movies, and now he does this movie, and when you hear that score, you just know the movie. It's iconic. And I think the biggest positive for this movie, what really makes this movie work, is the animatronics of these gremlins and the Mogwai being so freaking adorable. I just want to hug it. It's so beautiful. I just want one. But yeah, the animatronics is good. I mean, there's some stop motion they use in this movie, which wasn't even necessary. It dates the movie. But the animatronics were pretty good in this movie. I forget who was responsible for it, but whoever did it did a good job. This movie looks like it was very difficult to shoot with all these things. You got a dog. It's always difficult to have a dog in your movie because a dog is like having to look at these gremlins, and it looked like it was a difficult movie to shoot, but they executed it pretty well. It looks very good. I enjoy the comedy in this movie. It's definitely got a lot of weird comedy. There's like a lot of movie references. Sometimes it takes things maybe a little too far, a little too weird. That's when it just becomes a child-friendly movie. Like I said, I wish it would have went a little bit more dark. Each death in this movie has comedy attached to it. Like when one guy dies off camera, we see his body, he has a shot in his ass, like a needle, because that gremlin got his blood tested, and I guess that was revenge. Just every death has like a little bit of comedy attached to it. If they would have just took that comedy out, it would have been like more serious, more impact. Like, oh shit, these things are tearing people up. Because even when the gremlin's about to like run over that guy with his own tractor, ironic, even like right before he dies, he's just saying corny shit. Like it's being funny, it's not being played serious. So that could be kind of a negative, but I think that's just what this movie was going for. We get the actor Judge Reinhold, I think that's his name, from the Beverly Hills Cop series. He has a small role in this movie. He's not really necessary. He doesn't play any part, but he's just kind of in there trying to motivate Billy to get a better job and move on with his life. And then we get this love interest who hates Christmas because she's got this fucked up story about how her dad broke his neck going down the chimney on Christmas Eve, trying to surprise her as Santa. Pretty weird. Like, that's a fucked up story for this movie. It's a PG. This movie has a lot of drinking and drugs in it. Like, this wouldn't pass for PG today. I don't think it would. This would be like a PG-13 movie. There's no cussing in it, but it says goddamn quite a few times. I do like that they finally make Gizmo the one who kills the final, like, bad gremlin. It's like, I was like kind of waiting. I'm like, is he gonna do something good? Like, he hasn't done anything. He's just been sitting back, scared shitless. And finally, they had him do something good at the end. He kills the last one. So I liked that. I also like, just because of nostalgia's sake, that these gremlins, when they laugh, they have the same exact laugh. I feel like it was pulled out for this video game I'm about to mention. It sounds like the laugh for Ripperoo and Crash Bandicoot. Tell me I'm wrong. It's amazing what you were able to get away with back in the 80s. But yeah, it's aged. I feel like Corey Feldman's character too, like, His necessity for this movie was just to get the Mogwai wet, but Billy's character could have just did that. It was his house, it was his paint glass with the water in it. You didn't need Corey Feldman in this movie. He didn't serve any purpose. I felt it odd that this whole movie at the beginning and then at the end was being narrated by Billy's father, as if he was a main character. He's in the beginning and then he disappears throughout the rest of the movie because he's at this inventor's convention trying to sell his little products. He's making all these weird products that crack eggs for you because apparently we're too lazy to crack our own fucking eggs. He's got this multi-fly swatter machine that has 6 fly swatters, and it's weird, pointless inventions. The smokeless ashtray. I make fantastic ideas for this fantastic world. I make the illogical logical. That's his little sales pitch. It's corny as shit. But yeah. So I felt it weird that he was the narrator instead of just Zach Galligan being the narrator. So why was the father the narrator? He wasn't really the main character. Yeah, he bought the Mogwai, but why is this his story? He didn't see anything that happened in town throughout the rest of the movie. He didn't get to see that shit. Billy did, so he should be telling the story. And speaking of Billy, Zach Galligan, he's not a good actor. I feel like he just wasn't good. A lot of the acting in this movie is not that good. There's some good performances. Even Corey Feldman felt just a little off. Just and lots of corny dialogue too. We got this mean character who's supposed to be like the Scrooge, but she still decorates her house for Christmas. So I felt that was odd. She's a total bitch and she's evil, but she still has a snowman decoration. And then she's always threatening to kill this dog. And then she talks a big game, but then she gets her ass tackled by the dog. And then she starts playing the victim card. I felt like that whole character was just kind of corny. But maybe that's just what this movie was going for. But it just felt kind of corny. Way too far. The things she was saying, it's in today's world, with all these organizations, PETA, she would be thrown in jail just for talking about murdering dogs. The shit she was saying is just beyond crazy. And then we find out she's a cat lady. She has a dozen cats. They're oh, that's why she hates dogs. They go to this candy store. I think it's a candy store. We don't see what it's called, but it just has candy advertised on the front in the third act. But while they're in there, I see everything but candy. There's clothing, there's hardware, hammers, chainsaws. We got the sports department. There's a fucking garden section. So did they break into a small candy store that was part of a strip mall, or did they just enter the Home Depot and Lowe's and Walmart all combined? My last negative, and it's not a huge one, it just kind of just makes it, it takes you out of the moment when you realize that this is probably all just a sound stage. It's not real. I like to watch a movie and feel like it's real. What I'm seeing is actually there. And this whole movie's cold in winter. They're outside and nobody is having cold breath. They're constantly outside throughout this whole movie. There's snow falling. It looks fake. But there's just no breath, ever in this movie. And it looks freezing. So it's just it's definitely in the 30s in this movie. Why is it not, why is there no breath? But overall, this movie is, despite how it might age a little bit, just the little bad acting, I won't hold it too much against this movie. I still have a fun time watching this movie. So therefore, I'll say when it comes to Gremlins, that you should definitely see this classic, so go out there and buy it. Have you seen this classic from 1984? Did you see it as a child and did it scare you? This movie was kind of creepy to me when I was a kid. It didn't scare me, it didn't give me nightmares, but it was definitely kind of scary. Some elements to it. This movie has some horror elements to it, but like I said, it's just a family comedy Christmas movie. But what did you think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below, and support this video by hitting this like button over here. And you can support this channel just by clicking on my beautiful cartoon face in 5 seconds to see more. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.